Now, here comes the saw. This is a real saw. The blade is very sharp. But as you'll see later, that doesn't matter. The magician and his assistant make it appear as if they're sawing through her body. Sometimes this will be embellished by screams coming from the assistant inside the box. The saw is removed, but our magician isn't done yet. More blades are inserted through the center of the box. He makes it seem like he hit bone, but if this were really happening, the assistant would be dead. Now for the amazing part of the trick, the assistant is split in half and made dizzy just for good measure. Sometimes you'll see feet sticking out the other end of the box. These are fake feet that move by remote control. The boxes are put back together and the blades are pulled out. The straps are untied. The boxes are removed. And there she is, still shackled to the table. The shackles are unlocked, and from here you can see that her stomach looks just fine. Now for the moment of truth. Here's how it's done. First, the assistant must appear to be completely immobilized. This is the key to the entire illusion. Check out the leg restraints. It's supposed to look like no one could get out of them. But watch. There's just enough room for her to slip free. It takes a really limber assistant to pull off a trick like this. Once the box is closed, she quickly gets out of her shackles and folds her body into the top half of the box, just in time to avoid the blade. This is actually pretty dangerous. The timing must be just right, because the assistant has no way to signal to the magician that she's clear of the saw. To enhance the illusion, the boxes are spun around while the assistant remains curled up inside the top half of the box. After the boxes are put back together, the assistant slips her feet back into the restraints, making it seem as if she's been locked in the entire time. The boxes are removed. The shackles are unlocked. And that's the trick. We told you it was simple. Now for one of magic's most basic tricks, pulling a rabbit out of a hat. Nothing up his sleeve. The hat is empty. He tosses it into the air to show you that the rabbit isn't hidden inside. He unfolds the red scarf. This is merely a diversion. Watch closely. He reaches into his hat and presto, little white bunny. Here's how it's done. First, a very small rabbit is carefully placed inside a specially designed black handkerchief. Don't worry, the rabbit is perfectly comfortable. It is in no danger of being harmed. The handkerchief is then hung behind the magician's table. If you're wondering, the reason why magicians work with rabbits instead of cats or other small animals is that rabbits naturally sit still. When the magician picks up the hat, he also picks up the rabbit and puts it inside. Take another look in slow motion. The hat goes up, and in goes the rabbit. Now watch again and see if you can spot when the rabbit is put inside the hat. Did you see it? The magician reaches inside the concealed handkerchief and releases the rabbit. And there you have it. Just that simple. You've probably seen the sword in the basket trick 1,000 times. Now we're going to show you how it's done. Our assistant brings out the basket and gets ready to climb inside. The magician claps his hands to signal the beginning of the illusion. First, the assistant is covered with a black curtain. You'll find out why in a minute. The magician pushes the assistant down into the basket. The lid is put in place and the swords are brought out. They are not fakes. They are real swords and they are very sharp. He drives the swords all the way through the basket. It seems that they are cutting into our assistant. But if that were true, not even Fox would show you that. Notice the artistry. He makes it appear as if he's plunging the swords right into his assistant. It now seems that there are too many swords in the basket for anyone to survive. One by one, the magician removes the swords from the basket. No blood. That's always a good sign. Once the swords are removed, the magician covers the basket with a black curtain. Then he steps inside. This is to try to convince you that the basket is empty. If you're wondering what happened to our assistant, you're about to find out. The magician steps out of the basket and... what's this? Could it be... Yes, it's our lovely assistant, without a scratch on her. How did our assistant avoid becoming a human shish kebab? Actually, this is one of the easiest tricks. No smoke or mirrors required. First, while covered with the black curtain, our assistant makes it appear as if she's having a tough time fitting inside the basket. However, without the curtain, we can see that she's merely spreading her arms to create the illusion of size. There's actually plenty of room for her inside. Once she's in position, the lid is put in place. Back inside the basket, the assistant waits for the swords. Now for the blades. Remember, these swords are very sharp. With our mini camera, we can see that the assistant knows exactly where the swords are going and helps guide them safely through the basket. There's no room for error. One wrong move could result in serious injury. Now the final sword. Look how close it comes to stabbing our assistant. Once all the swords are put in place, the process is reversed and the swords are carefully removed. This is also very dangerous. Our assistant has to protect herself from the swords as they are pulled out of the basket. The magician covers the basket again. Then he steps inside, making it appear that it's empty. In reality, our assistant simply shifts her body to create enough room to accommodate our magician's feet and legs. Here's another look from our mini camera. See, there's plenty of room. The magician steps out of the basket. Now, with the curtain back on, the assistant emerges from the basket and magically reappears, unharmed. So the next time you see this trick performed, you'll know how they did it.
When we return, the incredible secret behind making an elephant disappear when magic's biggest secrets are finally revealed.
For his final trick, the masked magician will show you how to make an elephant disappear. There's always a lot of pomp and circumstance in building up the excitement for these big tricks, and they don't get any bigger than this. In case you're wondering, that's a real elephant. He weighs 7,000 pounds and stands 9 feet tall. His handlers are there to make sure he doesn't get out of control. It's important to remember that when you're working with wild animals, there's always an element of real danger. The assistants lead the elephant toward the magician. It's going to take a lot of magic to make this big guy disappear. The elephant is slowly moved into position behind the gates of the cage. Again, the assistants do a little dance. The masked magician gives the signal, and with the elephant inside, the gates of the cage are closed. Keep your eye on the elephant. You can clearly see that he's still in the cage. Puff of smoke, and the elephant is gone. But while all this is happening, the elephant never moves. See, he's still in the cage. That deserves another look. First, the elephant is there. Then he's not. Have you figured it out? Well, here's how the trick is done. See the netting at the back of the cage? It looks exactly the same as the netting to the left and to the right of the cage. When the cage is closed, you can clearly see the elephant, as well as the netting behind him. Here's what you don't see. There are mirrors hidden inside each of the bars of the cage. When the magician triggers the explosives, the mirrors slide into place, blocking your view into the cage. You are no longer seeing the elephant and netting inside the cage. Instead, you're seeing a reflection of the netting outside the cage. Meanwhile, the elephant hasn't moved an inch. You can plainly see that he's still in the cage. Let's watch that again. The elephant is inside the cage. When the smoke clears, you're seeing a mirror image of the netting outside the cage. This makes it appear as if the elephant has vanished. Behind the scenes, split-second timing is critical to making the illusion work. On cue, a stagehand pulls a lever that moves the mirrors into place. Here's the trick without the smoke. You can clearly see the elephant disappear as the mirrors shift into position. Now it's time to make the illusion complete. While the audience is mesmerized watching the elephant disappear, his handlers quickly take him out through the netting in the back of the cage. Now when the magician opens the gates, the elephant is really gone. Smoke and mirrors are also used to make other big things disappear. But no matter how large the object, the basic trick remains the same.
Breaking the magician's code